Welcome to the Intimate Marriage Podcast, where I teach educated, successful couples how to have incredible, passionate relationships so that you can stop compromising and start feeling fully alive in your relationship. I'm Alexandra Stockwell, aka the Intimacy Doctor. I'm a physician, a relationship and intimacy coach, and I'm an intimate marriage expert. My husband and I have been married for 27 years. We have 4 children and full professional lives, and we've created an amazing marriage. I've shown hundreds of couples how to do so as well. So if you want to deepen your understanding of your own relationship and learn to access new heights of emotional, sensual, and erotic intimacy, you're in the right place. I will show you how. Now, let's dive in.
Hello, sweet friends.
Hi, everybody. This is so exciting. You're hearing 2 voices at the beginning. One you're used to hearing every time you listen, and one you're not.
So my name is Kate Mangona, and I am the host of Medicine, Marriage, and Money.
And I'm Alexandra Stockwell, the host of the Intimate Marriage Podcast.
And we have the most amazing collaboration coming up. So hold on tight and get ready and come with us because I'm just so excited. We're going to talk all about it. So I want to start off by telling you that I met Dr. Alexandra Stockwell 3 years ago, maybe even 3.5 years ago at the very beginning of the pandemic when I heard her speak on an intimacy panel. It was about sex and intimacy, and it was in one of the physician entrepreneur Facebook groups. And she and 3 other speakers who were intimacy experts just were able to talk about this topic and my eyes were glued. My eyes and my ears were glued this entire session. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I have to connect with her. I have to know who she is. I have to not only have her on my podcast, but we have to be friends. And here we are.
This is so fun. I'd forgotten about that panel. I'm rapt hearing you describe it because I would have said, I'm not quite sure where we met, but I just know that I was just magnetized to you. You bring such deliciousness of a kind of youthful, girlish giggle with this sophistication and classy maturity. And it's like you're so many different woman archetypes all in this one compelling, generous bundle. And I absolutely felt the same way. I want to be connected. I want to be friends. And I really don't think I ever could have imagined that we would be here doing a joint podcast about something that excites us each so much. We're such different people, but we are both deeply devoted to serving professional couples to really expand and enhance their connection. And we have different biographies. In fact, will you say just a little bit something about your biography for my audience, and I'll say something about mine for yours?
Sure. Yeah. So when I first heard you speak 3.5 years ago, Alexandra, I had 2 little girls. Now I have 3 little girls. And at that point in time in my life, I was a pediatric radiologist. I was a physician's wife, mother, and then also have a poodle mom. And I was just beginning to become passionate about relationships and knowing secrets, knowing everybody's marriage and intimacy secrets, and then sharing with them with the world, knowing that we don't talk about it enough in the workplace. And when we talk about it amongst our friends, even sometimes some things are taboo, or we might be, pulling each other down without realizing it. And so when I heard you, I was just magnetized by the way you talked about sensuality without being uncomfortable. And we're just saying it how it is and saying how it could be even better. And I reached out to you immediately and said, I need to have you on my new podcast. It was brand new. And because I'm sharing all of the gold nuggets and all the secrets of all the power couples that I meet and know, and I knew you were one of them with my people, with my audience. And so that's when we first connected. Now, fast forward 3.5 years later, I have built the Medicine, Marriage, and Money brand for 3.5 years with my podcast, with group coaching, with individual coaching, and now with something brand new that I get to share with you.
It's such a beautiful story. And I want to emphasize that in 3.5 years, you went from beginning to be interested to really quite masterful in your own life and being able to help others. And while I do think you are remarkable and magnificent, I don't think you're unique in that way. And I just really want to emphasize one of the things I often say is that having a fantastic relationship is a learnable skill. If it weren't, I'd be wasting my time. Like, what difference could I make in people's lives? And so I just think you're an incredible example of what is possible. And it is possible for anyone who wants to prioritize the quality of their relationship and put attention on it. And it is definitely not all work and hustle and grind. It is like the kind of work that brings very positive results in a very pleasant way right from the get-go. Otherwise, what's the point? I've been coaching since 2013. So I no longer practice medicine, although I trained in family medicine, and my husband still practices medicine. So that is how medicine is still part of my vocabulary, part of my everyday conversation, but I am fully involved professionally as a relationship and intimacy coach and an intimate marriage expert. I have my podcast. I've written a book, Uncompromising Intimacy. My program is called The Aligned and Hot Marriage, and I have been serving couples ever more deeply and efficiently to be able to bring the competence and the ambition and the high accomplishment qualities that my couples have in their professional life and show them how to bring those qualities to really up-level sensuality, intimacy, communication, whatever it is that they want more of in their relationship. Because I think one of the things that's most challenging for the couples that you work with and I work with is that they're used to feeling really confident in many, many areas of their lives. And because there's not adequate training, modeling, general education that actually works when it comes to marriage, it can be very confronting to feel incompetent in an area that is so vulnerable and important. So there are all kinds of ways that you and I teach the skill sets and competence and confidence to have more pleasure, more emotional intimacy, and yes, more sensuality as well, which is something that happens in a really deep and profound way with ongoing coaching and some epiphanies at a lecture. But I think we each have had some of the most expansive and sustained positive transformations in our respective marriages on retreats. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so just a few months ago, it was like I go on a lot of, I would say, to conferences, women physicians retreats. But two months ago, right after one of my women's physicians retreat on intentional living, intentionally mindfulness, I island hopped. I went right from Oahu to Maui and went on a couples retreat with 6 other couples, all physician couples except for one, and this energy healer, I will call him. And Victor went without knowing pretty much anything. He knew 2 of the couples that would be going on this a retreat with us. And I'll call it like a energy and intimacy retreat. And so I think the reason he decided to trust in me and not ask a million questions and not even ask, okay, how much are you paying for this, is because he knew the 2 other couples going and he really liked them. And he was like, okay, if they're doing this, then I think we can try this out too. And I was like, we're doing this for us. So he met me in Oahu. Then we went to Maui right after we did a couple surfing lesson together. We did the surfing. We hopped on the plane and went to Maui and did 2 days of morning to evening intense intimacy and energy exercises. And it was so transformational that I will tell you, intimacy has never been the same. Like, I am no longer ever exhausted. I'm just not. Like, and I learned so much on that retreat. I don't think I could have gotten from a book or a podcast. I mean, I'm a podcast junkie. I listen to them a lot. When you're there in your person and you're experiencing and you're seeing the ocean and the turtles floating right next to where the ocean hits the rocks. And the day before we started the retreat, not only we went surfing, but we also went scuba diving and then bike riding down this mountain. And when we were going down this mountain called Haleakala, and our heads were in the clouds, like literally they were in the clouds. So it was like literally and, metaphorically, our heads were in the clouds. Image. And this is, yes, Victor set this up for us. Now he's usually the adventure seeker, and I love adventures, but he's the one who makes sure he schedules them all. And it was just like divine intervention that we were able to do both scuba diving and the bike in one day. Because typically, if you're a scuba diver, when you go diving, you can't go to a certain altitude for several hours. And we had these scheduled back to back. We hadn't even thought about it. Like we planned not to go on a plane ride because you can get the bends, you can get the nitrogen bubbles in your bloodstream. So luckily, somebody was watching over us, and we only went to the depth of 30 feet on this particular dive, which made it so that we were able to go up in this mountain. A bus took us up on this mountain with another very, very sweet family. We were able to go up to this elevation and then come down through the clouds, like just easily gliding. It felt like soaring through the sky down this mountain. Cows would occasionally be walking across our path. And we just went down and had the mist, like the cloud dew actually on our nose. And then we'd get back in the van, we'd have snacks, and then we'd do it again. We went and we did it again. We did it during sunset, and then we did it after sunset. I can't even explain. This is why you guys are going to have to come because it was the most magical experience doing it with my love and doing it together and just experiencing the visual, how it felt in my body, and then doing some cute little fun poses on the bike, while we were doing it. It was magnificent. And on this retreat and the days following that, I knew I had to share it with other couples. It just had transformed my life in an intimate way so much. I was like, we need to continue this. And so when I got back to Dallas, I started to think, okay, how am I going to do this? I've always thought about hosting a retreat, and then I just haven't yet pulled the trigger. And at this moment, I decided it's going to be next year. It's got to be next year, and it's got to be Maui.
I feel like we want to just sit there because yes, it's got to be next year. It's got to be Maui. It has to include a bike ride down Haleakala. And before we say anything more about that, I just want to share that I have been deeply devoted to personal growth and cultivating who I am, my mindset, my reactivity, my presence, all of the things that one does in coaching and beyond. It's been a long-lasting passion of mine. In fact, when my husband and I got married 27 years ago, we met the first week of medical school and were married during our third year. We were clear that one of the foundational elements that brought us together was our commitment to our own and one another's growth and learning, having no idea where that would take us during our lifetimes and not having really seen that play out in any other couples. But that was in many ways the deepest thing that brought us together. And just hearing you speak about the adventures and knowing that your social media is just filled with these incredible adventures and vacations. You go to conferences and have these experiences yourself, Kate, and then also you and Victor and the way you've just shared, and also with your children. And there's just so much color and geographical variety and types of experience. You go on trips with extended family as well. And just listening to you, I was reminded of being at a pretty intense, fantastic retreat. And everyone there, maybe 30 people, and everyone was like top of their industry in the world, a variety of industries. One was professional poker player, some investment banker, anyway, different industries. And I was definitely the only relationship and intimacy coach. And one of the things that we did was we kind of assessed our lives, the different areas of life. And I was at an 8, 9, or 10 in all of the areas but one, like when it comes to my mindset and the quality of my relationships and, happiness and purpose in my work. I was feeling very proud about what my rankings were. And then comes vacation, travel, leisure. And I think I was about a 2. I just was not in the habit of the glorious opportunity of disrupting one's usual schedule, of letting go, of like waking up and not seeing in my home. Yes, it's comfortable, but if I'm in my home, I also see the tasks I need to do, and I need to figure out what's happening for dinner and make sure there's food to cook and like all of the different responsibilities. And it really became a kind of confronting passion to start to have experiences that were not my usual experiences, and really surrender and like let myself be taken care of, and also risk, because I'm not controlling all the variables when I travel. And so I know that's a completely different entrance point than the one that you described. But one of the things that I did after having this awareness and the importance of really breaking up the routines and being in new locations, especially with my husband, is we've been on multiple retreats, sometimes with our children, sometimes without. And I don't think we really have words in the English vocabulary to describe what that's like to just like take off. It's like taking off the mantle of all of our usual responsibilities, and then the most profound and tender and silly and expansive experiences become possible. And so I feel like these kinds of experiences are kind of essential oxygen or fuel for a marriage in which both people are carrying a lot of responsibility and working hard and managing all kinds of things, that to just be able to be in the paradise of Maui in luxurious circumstances, and all you need to do is show up and play and figure out how it can be better for yourself. And you don't even need to figure it out. That's too much like work. Like just allow it to get better and better. And so I am just thrilled for what we're co-creating for couples, whether you're used to having all kinds of adventures or it's not really something that's called to you. This is going to be one of the most memorable experiences for those few select couples who choose to party with us.
I love how you said word surrender, because this word came up for me a lot during my retreat and just there, even the aftermath, just like, because you get so much out of being there. And then those next few weeks, even months afterwards, I feel like new things are popping up in your head. And the thing that kept popping up on my head after I came back from Hawaii was surrendering to love. Because what did you learn? Like, what did you take away? What did you do at this retreat? I learned how to just surrender to love, just more and more. Of course, here you and I, we talk about love all the time. We talk about do this, like accept this, think about it this way, try this. But the act of surrendering to love is something I feel like you experience and then you just keep sinking into more and more. And that getting out of your own routine in your environment, I know when I'm in my house, when I spend a holiday, a Thanksgiving or a Christmas at my house, even though I love being at my house, because I've been living in this house for 1.5 years, and Victor and I have been nomadic for the past 8 or 9 years. So we were not used to being in one house for so long. When I travel, I am completely dedicated to spending that time with the people I'm with. So my husband, my children, my parents. But when I'm at my house, I'm decorating, I'm organizing, I'm cleaning, I'm thinking about all the stuff I have to do. And while I love it, it's home, there's so much more responsibility that just you get to take off when you're at the Four Seasons in Maui and you're just there.
You know, hearing you speak, let's talk about our retreat in some detail and unveil the name. But I want to just throw out that I feel like the couples retreat, this one and the future ones we're planning, they're really like going to the spa for your relationship. The same way that, you know, after a facial or any other treatment, you just feel relaxed and just in your body is a different kind of home than it is after a stressful work day or a not so stressful work day, just a work day. That the way you feel when you drive away from the spa. So like our retreat is going to be the spa for your marriage, for your relationship. So let's talk about it. What are we calling our retreat?
Honeymoon 2.0.
Honeymoon 2.0. Who doesn't want that?
Come with us. Yes, exactly. It's going to be your honeymoon on steroids or your honeymoon again. And again, the honeymoon you always wanted, the honeymoon you want again.
Yeah, and by honeymoon, we mean a celebration of your marriage, a deepening of your connection, an opportunity to get to know one another more and more. Yes, to get to know one another's souls, and also to the extent that it suits you, to get to know one another's bodies more. Like all of the things about a honeymoon in terms of just being a special experience for the two of you. And really, just like a honeymoon after a wedding, it kind of sets the course for what's going to come next. It's just that often with that first honeymoon, sometimes it goes beautifully, but more often than not, it does not. And this is, if you need a redo on your honeymoon, this is your invitation. And you don't have to worry. If the guy messed it up, he's not going to be able to mess it up again because Kate and I are curating it. So you're off the hook, guy. And if it was a really fabulous honeymoon, well, wouldn't you want more of that? And just to be egalitarian, because I am definitely not someone who blames the man in the way many people do for relationship matters, let me just say that if it's on you, ladies, that the honeymoon didn't go the way you both dreamed of, this is your opportunity for a redo too.
Absolutely. And, you know, and I know one of the couples who are going on their honeymoon, she was sick the entire time. So this is their redo. This is she's going to be able to get out of bed this time. This is their honeymoon. So that was of no fault of anyone. That just was, right, nature. That was just the universe saying that Honeymoon 2.0 with Kate Mangona and Alexandra Stockwell is where you need to be. You know,
we never really took a honeymoon either, not because of sickness or a lack of desire, but just because we were third-year medical students and we did want to get married when we got married. And it was enough to figure out when we could schedule the wedding with all of our rotations and exam schedules. But there wasn't time for a honeymoon too. Yeah, so there are many different reasons, but whatever it is, whatever honeymoon means in your marriage as you're listening. If it means something magnificent, we'll come get more. And if it means something a little unsatisfying for any number of reasons, here's your chance for a redo, because we are planning something that's going to have just the perfect blend of, well, it's on Maui, so, what more do we need to say? The water, the weather, the lush vegetation, like it's transformational and brings peace and excitement in the right blend, just being on Maui. Plus, we'll be at the luxurious Four Seasons. Do you want to say something about that?
If you've ever been to Four Seasons, you know their customer service. And if you haven't, they've already taken care of you. It's done. Like, whatever you want, consider it done. They will take care of you. Like, you will not be carting your own luggage to your room. And if something comes up, they are going to be there to make sure you have it. I have stayed at the Four Seasons once, and I was blown away by the attention to detail. And everybody is so happy for you to be there. They truly are. It's like built into their model, their customer service model, or they wouldn't be working there. So, and they've been lovely to work with to secure our rooms and our space. So I can't say more than enough positive things.
Yeah, and I have to say, when you and I were talking about the details, and I realized that the room rate is actually 50% off of their regular room rate with your roommate for October 2024. Like, that's just thrilling to have that opportunity to be at the Four Seasons that way. And I feel like, with the special blend of Alexandra wisdom and magic and Kate wisdom and magic, we're curating something that, yes, it will be in this luxurious setting, both in terms of the Four Seasons and luxurious just because Maui is luxurious in terms of the nature experience. And we are preparing just a really thoughtful blend of connecting exercises and conversations and coaching and opportunities to really face areas that maybe you shied away from, where you'll feel safe and able to really just fall in love with one another more deeply in the way that comes with being a little more vulnerable than you usually are, a little more open, and being with other couples who are doing the same thing. And there's a synergistic effect of that maybe there's a conversation you wouldn't normally have in your day-to-day life, but because you're with other couples and you both feel so loved and appreciated, then that conversation now can happen. And there'll be plenty of time for alone time for you to spend however you are inspired to spend it. I'm able to be very explicit. I am not shy in that regard, even though I used to be. I certainly am not now, but it's way more fun to talk about it in these more discreet, sophisticated terms, because whatever area of your relationship you'd like to really enjoy more, whether it's being together in silence, looking at the sunset, opening your hearts and having vulnerable conversations, learning a new skill together, or the kinds of things that only the two of you will ever know about, there will be opportunities for all of that to happen in a very uplifting, affirming, encouraging context. Do you want to say anything more about, your vision and what you want couples to experience and come away with? Because we haven't actually expressed all of this to one another, but I just know we're simpatico, so I'm going for it.
We're in alignment, Alexandra. I mean, we are here to help you, to guide you, what you're going to be doing, to reignite the passion. Right? So many times we've been married for so long, we still love each other. We're still in love, but we've lost the passion, the sensuality, or maybe we never really had that sensuality. Maybe we did, It just depends on how you fell in love and what went on. But we are here to exemplify the passion that's in there, that's there. And to help, like Alexandra said, you're going to have time with just you and your love. We're going to have challenges, intimacy challenges, a range of challenges. And I just thought of this, we're going to create a packing list. Because I know some of you guys might be a little bit intimidated. You might be scared of being vulnerable in this sort of intimate way. We are going to have a suggested, maybe a mandatory, I don't know, we'll figure it out, packing list of what I think, what Alexandra is suggesting you pack for the Four Seasons Maui Intimacy Retreat. Because there is going to be some of you who might not know, oh, should I pack that? Yes. And we're going to tell you, yes, you should pack that.
Yes. And we will be our versions of the Four Seasons all the way through anyway. So if you sign up and then you're like, what did I get myself into? That's one of the things that happens with couples and relationship work. No problem. You can reach out to either one of us. We are here for you. And the thing I really want to emphasize, I feel like this is it's definitely a skill set that I have. And I imagine it's really a skill set that you have too, Kate, that I always have my attention on what is the next right step to move a marriage or relationship in the direction the couple wants to go. So if you're someone who, you love thinking about how to have more sexiness in your relationship, and so you just love what we're talking about, well, come on, we're going to support you and guide you and give you a buffet of options to explore together. But if, you're into it, and your spouse is much more reserved and you're not sure if this is going to be overwhelming for them because, they're not going to want to hear what I've just said, I assure you, your spouse, they may not be 100% comfortable, but they'll just be a teeny weeny bit uncomfortable in the way that's necessary to grow and change. We all know that growth happens at the edges of our comfort zone, but when it comes to these topics, I'm not really interested in having somebody too far at the edges of their comfort zone. I am really devoted to transformation being sustained. And the only way that the beauty and the deepened connection that will happen on this retreat for those who choose to participate, the only way that that's not just a blip that happens in Maui is if it's well calibrated. So I just want to be really clear that wherever you are in terms of intimacy, vulnerability, adventure, communication, wherever you are, it is a great place to be to join us. And you'll get to go to the next level, whatever that is for you. And I think with so many things, especially with evidence-based medicine protocols, we can think, oh, there's a right way to respond in this circumstance. And of course there is in medicine, but when it comes to mature marriages, creativity, customization, calibration, and individuality are essential. And Kate and I know how to honor you wherever you are. And so it's both. It's the flamboyant, expansive, come on, have another honeymoon. And it's also the gentle, warm invitation to access parts of your soul that maybe have been dormant because you were taught not to be expressive in childhood or whatever it is. I just really want to make clear that this is going to be incredible. And I feel totally certain that everyone who joins us will be so thrilled they did.
Oh, absolutely. And if you haven't heard this before, I personally believe the key to happiness is progress. At anything in your life, if you're making progress at work, at home, in your love life with your children, if you're making progress, you're bringing more happiness into your life. And what Alexandra just said, what we're doing is we're making this is just one more thing you're doing in order to make progress in your love and your passion, your sensuality. And if you're at the edge of the uncomfortable, right? We make progress when we're at the edge, when we're going towards the discomfort, not crazy falling off a cliff, but you're just there. You're going to be at the luxury comfort, a little bit at the edge of discomfort. And we're going to make progress. We're going to have our passion, sensuality is going to explode, and your relationship will be the ultimate joy version that you're craving.
Absolutely. And I really love how we've created it also so that every couple, there'll be time for individuals to be alone, time for the couple to really just be the two of them in beautiful ways for some of the meals, certainly evenings and so on. And then also there'll be really fun, engaging group activities and an opportunity for coaching and learning when Kate and I present. So you'll get to be in all those different flavors in just a wonderful mixture. If somebody is listening and they're like, I want one of those few available spots, because part of the way we're curating this is just as luxurious as the Four Seasons. So we have a cap on how many couples we're taking. What else do people need to know, Kate?
So people are signed up already, and we do have the earlier sign up, the better, right? Because we have a pricing tier. So be sure to click on the link that we've included so that you can secure your spot and get the best price for your spot. And then you will get an email with the link for the half off discounted Four Seasons room, your room rate. So fabulous again, and we'll just be sending you more info. Of course, Alexandra and I are here to answer any questions you might have. Please reach out to us. And let's see, what else is there?
I want to say one more thing, which is that this Honeymoon 2.0 couples retreat in Maui is going to be incredible for each person who attends, and it definitely will be one of those milestone moments in your marriage or relationship for you as a couple. And if you have children, this is also for them, not because they get to experience it. They are not actually welcome or included in this experience, but this is part of your legacy. So if you are paying attention to your financial legacy, which of course you are, this is a way to really pay attention to your relational legacy as well, even though we're not necessarily going to be so focused on the kids. We're focusing on the two of you and the luxury and the growth and evolution and sensual connection. But all of that, of course, contributes to your personal and familial legacy in ways that we can't even begin to express.
Yes, I agree. Your financial and your children, your family legacy, this contributes to that. And collectively, me and Alexandra, we have 7 kids together?
Yes, that's right. I have 4 and you have 3.
We have a lot of parental experience, although we will not be focused on kids at all. This retreat will enhance the lives of each one of your children, if you have children, or nieces or nephews, because they get to see the example of an amazing relationship, a relationship that works, that more than works, that is exploding with passion. Don't you want that for your children? Don't you want them to be able to see? Because we know our children are like walking sponges. They absorb, and then they go and they look for that. And the partner, eventually, when they're all grown up, they look for that. Same thing with your financial legacy. I mean, all of us are physicians. All the Alexandra, her husband, my husband, we're going to all be there. And my husband in particular is crazy passionate about talking about finances, real estate. And while it won't be something planned on the couples retreat, he will definitely be glad to talk your ear off if you have a question about your financial legacy or what to do or your next step to creating wealth for the next generations to come.
Yeah. So this is my favorite kind of a thing where it is going to the spa for your relationship. It is delicious and all about you while it's happening. And the ripple effect will just be so profound for generations. So this dual episode on the Intimate Marriage podcast and Medicine, Money, and Marriage podcast, I wanted to make sure I said the three in the right order. This is
medicine, marriage, and money, but everyone gets it wrong,
Okay.
Alexandra. It's okay.
medicine, marriage, and money. Okay. Well, I like that order actually. But anyway, so for all of you listening to one or both of these podcasts, this is your invitation. If you are a high-performing professional who wants to invest the time, the attention, the resources in up-leveling your marriage performance as well. All the links are in the show notes, and we can't wait to continue the conversation with a drink in hand on the beach with you.
Yay! Thank you so much for listening. And also, please share this with a friend who may benefit from it. I will tell you, every single retreat I've gone and transformed on and made my life better through is because a friend shared with me the link for the retreat, or else I would never know. And you could just ask my husband. Now I don't even want to go on vacation unless I'm like at a conference or retreat where I'm growing, which I'm not like, I love to go on vacation. But oh my gosh, it just takes your life to the next level. Help somebody else out. Like, share this with somebody else who you think really may benefit from this and their lives. And wouldn't it be even more fun to share such a transformational spa-like experience with a friend?
Right on. See you there.